So just as you are done with that, you can go ahead and then you work on it. If you have a lot of money, or if your capital is quite huge, you want to flip a huge thing, because your profit margin is embedded in the size of transaction you undertake. The same effort and the procedure that you need to undertake a transaction as small as 1 bedroom is the same thing that you need for a bigger one, because you still contract a contractor who will do the work, the same duration you wait and all that. So it's the same effort that you put in. And make sure that on the market, you are using the rule of thumb on the market, which is important, that the property must be in close proximity. And in real estate, there's a definition for real estate. It's location, location, location. If one thing is repeated 3 times, it means that it's a core value you cannot understate. Once you do that, it will come back to bite you hard. So you want to speculate well. You want to be sure that you use the variables that are important in defining how you locate the right property and play around that, so that your risk is minimum. That's why I titled this Teething for the Flipping Market. You really need to teeth for it. You can't go in there with baby mindset, baby business. No, you have to go in there as a real mugu and get that done. Now let's look at some advantages and disadvantages. And before we do that, just get to understand that there are variables that drive what will happen to your real estate. Reason why the location is important. Now, some of these variables, first of all, has to do with employment rate. Where is that location young people are looking to stay? Which is that location they can afford? So, as you are trying to find your way to become a small developer, you don't want to go and throw yourself away out of a location that is desirable by your targeted market. So you want to be very sure that you take certain principles key, and those principles becoming the defining instructions to what you want to do, or where you want to put your small money, or where you want to put people's money. So you are considering the employment rate, you are considering the local economy of where you want to put up your building, because if you put up a building in Nima, you will get rent for Nima. If you put it up in Mamobi, you get rent commensurate to that area. If you put it up at Tema, you get a rent commensurate for that area. If you put it up in a peri-urban area, you get a rent for that area. And these rents are not the same, whereas the cement bag still costs the same wherever this thing is. So you have to be very careful in choosing where you want to put the building. However, you are not also going to do something out of your strength by going to a location where all your investment will end up in a land. That will also lock your cash flow. So it's important that you look at that. You also want to consider the crime rate. You can have a beautiful building in a bad area and nobody will want that building because of the crime rate of that particular area. And you also want to look at facilities that are available, like transportation, like schools and municipal services, and then property taxes, and so on and so forth. And don't forget about the value of what you are putting up there can largely be affected by the kind of surrounding or the kind of neighborhood or the kind of people who are there. So these are all variables that can actually affect your real estate asset. So in some point in your brokerage life, if you feel like becoming a developer, you want to quickly come to this part of the presentation and glean some information from there, because this will help you and it will also protect your dear investment. And now let's look at some advantages and disadvantages. And of course, real estate gives you a steady cash, steady flow of cash. If you are ventured into that, even whether it is for long lease, short lease, whatever it is, you get that very steady cash flow from that. So as a broker, you are guaranteed for this cash flow once you have a very wonderful portfolio and you have properties dotted all around the space, you will always have people who are coming in for the low market product, the middle market product, the upper market product, and you get to make some money. Okay, so yes, the rest is basically something you can glean on later. Now let's look at due diligence there. This is a very important segment of the presentation that I think everybody should pay extra attention, because in the real estate space, it is not just about sell information and make money. There are some risks also on the market. And sometimes as a broker, if you do not do your work well, you could end up behind police bar. And, because if you mislead a buyer and he gives his money to somebody and the person disappears, you are the one they will come for. So you want to be sure that due diligence, you are big on that, just to save yourself. There are a lot of brokers who are out of the space because police is looking for them. It is of no fault of theirs, but because they lack or they didn't do due diligence when they got a deal that they transacted on. So what are the things you need to look at? The first thing that you require as a broker, if somebody calls you and says, well, I have a house, I want a tenant. Okay, so the first thing you ask for that person is that, okay, if you want a tenant, is there any document you can show me that you are the owner of the house? And what are some of the documents you can quickly ask a proposed landlord? You can ask the landlord to give you electricity bill. So when he gives you electricity bill, you check the name that is on the bill, because usually before water or electricity is connected to a house, the utility company will request for documentation, site plan and things like that. So they will get to register the name on that will be appearing on that particular bill from the site plan. So it's important that you ask for a document, a basic document like water bill or electricity bill. Once you get that, you will see the name of the property owner on the bill, and then you verify that by whichever person that is telling you to find a tenant. You verify from the person whether or not this particular house or property belongs to the individual. And if it happens that it's property you want to sell, you make sure you ask to see the title of the property. If it doesn't have the title, fine, or ask for the indenture. If you are in areas like the eastern region, the central region where they don't have title, they use indenture. So you can actually ask for that indenture and do well as possible. Verify that before you get a buyer. Other than that, you end up selling something that doesn't belong to a true owner. So in my case, I do further work. I will go in for all this information here, getting a site plan, a title or an indenture. I can ask for permits. I can ask for the zoning or the land use data, because it isn't every land that is meant for residential or for commercial or for misuse. So you have to find out whether the property you are about to sell is actually on the right usage of that land. And in getting away from that, you can just ask for permit, because it is the permit authorities' work to make sure that permits are granted on the right use of land. So you can do that work as well. And then also find out whether there is any pending lawsuit on the said property you are about to rent or you are about to sell. Sometimes the site plan and everything will come clean, but then there might be a pending lawsuit. You get a tenant for that house, and the next thing is that he's joining a case at the court. So you find out whether there is any case on that. And you can actually do that from the local court once you have the site plan. It's important that that thing is also done. And I mentioned already that you should verify the utility bill that your prospective landlord will give you. Now, so when you get all this information, you have to come to the validation process. And how you validate these things in Ghana, you need to run an official search on your site plan and on your title document, so that you are able to get that information. And this is very important for those of you who are aiming at selling properties. You have to be sure that you see any of this. You can ask the developer that if you want me to sell your properties for you, please, I need you to do an official search on the property you want us to sell. So you make sure you place that demand, they will get you the search. And now the search is just done once. Once you do it, you are going to have the surveying and mapping department giving you their report. You have the public vested land management division giving you their report, and you have land registration division also giving you their report. And all this is just a single search you will run at the land commission. So once you do that, you'll be able to get those information and get to know whether the landlord indeed owns the land. Any serious developer who is selling his property has already done his own search and fully verified by the Land Commission Division, and you can actually walk in to validate the search result given you as well. It is also important for you to take this some notches further by making a walk. Just have a walk around the neighborhood and talk to the people in the neighborhood, whether they know whether there's a litigation on a particular land or a particular asset, what are the things and all that. And some of these quarters, they have this historic information about what has taken place at the particular site and all that. And they'll give you all those information for free, just so that you are protected from getting into trouble. Okay? And then the last but not the least, make sure that all legal documentations are fully validated. This is key. Make sure that they are fully validated. You can seek, you can share some of this information with. That's why you need to have an industry friend. You want to go to a legal or a law firm to help you with this. So you can actually have this discussion with some friends and some people who are also into real estate, or people who are dealing within a particular space. For real estate, for instance, there are brokers who are in East Legon. And I tell you, they know all the problems areas in East Legon, and they know all the safe areas. So in this selling in East Legon, they know areas where they want to broker deals and areas that they will never do anything there. So it's good to have some of this industry information so that you are able to make a decision that is risk-free. Other than that, you aim at making $5,000 and you end up getting trouble that is $50,000. You don't want that particular thing. So real estate property due diligence in Ghana is key. It's key. It's key in Ghana. For instance, now a lot of people are running away from virgin land because there are so much troubles with virgin land, and they are more comfortable with the brown lands because those have already been built. Those already have very publicly known owners, and so on and so forth. So in nutshell, these are the key things that you need to pay attention to and hold dear to your heart so that you can play within the real estate space as you grow your experience and try to make money but not getting into troubles. Now, when it comes to finding deals, it's important to work hard to get deals, because if you're a broker and you do not have deal, you have nothing. It means that from January to December, you could sit without earning anything. So you have to find means and find ways of finding deals. Now I'm going to give you about 3 different ways of finding deals. And these are very practical ways that you can get these deals. First of all, you need to get a digital poster. What is a digital poster? A digital poster basically means that you frame an artwork, very simple, and put it on your social media pages. Use it for your status every time, or even use it for your DP, your display picture, so that anytime people interact with you on social media or on WhatsApp, they will be able to see what you do. If you are on any group, make sure you just litter that group with it. Just put it there, what you do, drop it on all groups. Try and jump on so many groups, and then share those information there if it is allowed, so that you are able to generate leads out of that. Some of these things, when you do it, you will feel that it will not be able to give you, but it does work. It gives you a lot of deals. It's not a good time to talk about flies on billboards around town, but that's great. If you are able to have billboards around town, that can also give you a great amount of leads. And we all know about these Google ads. If you can volunteer some money, 100 cities, 200 cities, and do Google ads and put your information there, that can also generate some leads. Or you can also sign up on Yellow Pages, which is free, and you leave what you do there, and you will be able to get some information from there as well. So getting leads is how aggressive you are, how you are out there and, interacting with the public and all that. I know of a developer here in Ghana who gets at least about 40 to 50 leads just one evening. Before the next one, he gets about 40 to 50 leads because he's very active on social media. And out of this lead, he's able to get deals out of it. So it's important that you use what is your strength to generate the leads. There are other methods of getting leads, which is expensive. I can recommend some of those ones for you, but those are extremely expensive and they work, but they are very, very expensive. But so for our starters, you want to look at the possible easy entry on everything. And also as students, you want to be sure that you don't spend so much of your money on some of this lead generation. You just want to use family, friends, and colleagues and so on and so forth to be able to get some of this information and sell them as quickly as possible. Now, it is one thing to generate leads, and it is also another thing to match the leads. If you have leads, somebody's looking for 2-bedroom house, 4-bedroom house, 1 bedroom, looking for a single room and all that, and you don't have a single room, you don't have any of the product, you may have leads, but you will not be able to make anything out of it. So as you are generating the leads, you also want to focus on having some properties, having some portfolio, building some portfolio, forging some very good network with other brokers so that you all can be sharing information. Some of the brokers have got pages that they've got group pages that they are on. So whatever property you get, you put it there. And then if I get a match, I also bring it. We all get the money. You collect from, if you bring the buyer, you collect from the buyer. I also collect from the seller because I'm bringing the seller. So we are able to create that particular deal. Now, how do you stage a property? How do you stage a property before selling it? It is important that you make sure that whatever property you are going to show to a prospective tenant or a prospective buyer, that property should be in the best of shape. You cannot take the person to a dirty room. You cannot take the person to a place that there are a whole lot of unkempt situation around. So you have to be sure that you take the individual to a clean environment, a well-perfumed environment, well-arranged environment, so that the person can be happy with the property at first sight. It's important because you can be an agent and you show a property to someone and the person will turn it down, and another agent will stage that same property and the person will come again and say, when I came, this property wasn't looking this good, so I want it this time around. But it is because you didn't stage the property well. So make sure that you always go to the place first, get them way before the appointed time with your prospective tenant or buyer. And if the place is not in good shape, make sure you put it in good shape. Better still, go there 2-3 days before the scheduled appointment so that you can advise the landlord or the property owner to make sure that he get the property to look great. If there are touch-ups that has to be done, it should be done. As a matter of fact, you as the broker, your work doesn't only end at introducing the property and collecting money and walking away, but you are also in there to advise your tenant or your client, who is your buyer, to advise this particular individuals on the property that you are buying. So you have to quickly learn a whole lot of things in the industry. You need to know basic things that affect buildings, like the rising dam or the wetness under the building. You need to know that when you see that, you should know that that is a problem, and you should be in position to explain to your buyer of what the situation is, and whichever area you want to you want to practice or whichever area that you want to work, get to understand the things in that area, the things that affect properties in that area. It's very, very important. There are areas that are flood-prone areas, and you could have a whole lot of incidents in that area. So you can imagine you leading a prospective to buy a house, and 6 months after that, the entire building is wet up to a certain stage. There is chaos, and there are challenges, there are cracks and all that. That buyer will never forgive you and will never be your ambassador. He will never recommend anybody to you because you've probably have misled the person. So it's important that you yourself, you take on the task, you go on the ground, you inspect the property just as the buyer or the tenant, and you make sure that all the boxes are ticked before you bring in a buyer. So we'll bring the class to a close for this section. If there are any questions that you have, feel free, put them in the comment section, and then I'll respond to all those questions. And my email address will also be down there where you can send me questions directly, and I will gladly send you the responses. So in a nutshell, real estate is a great space to play, and being a broker is a smart way of being on your journey to become a real estate developer or a real estate investor. So put in a lot of intelligence, work smart, work in a team, be in a group, and work hard. Do all the due diligence, and you make your money hustle free without any excesses at the end of the day. So all the best to all of you, and I hope that this training section has been informing and can help somebody to start a real estate brokerage business today. Bye-bye.